So today I've got a video for everybody. Whether you've just picked up a paddle for the first time or you're the warrior at your rec courts playing 7 days a week, this video is gonna have a tip for every level, so stick around. In this video, I'm gonna go through every level of pickleball from a beginner 2.0 all the way up to a 5.0 plus. And remember, no matter what level you are, there's probably something that you can take away from each one of these tips at every level. Make sure you stick around to the end because I've got 3 bonus tips. They're gonna apply to everybody at all levels. Okay, so let's start out with the beginners. Those of you just getting started in pickleball, what is the most important thing at that level? Obviously, you gotta learn the rules, you gotta learn where to stand, you gotta learn how to keep score. Those are all big things that we gotta kind of master when we're just starting the game. But one of the most important things at this stage is you gotta have fun, because this is where probably it's, am I gonna keep playing pickleball or is just a one-time thing? So if you're playing with people you like, if you're playing with friends, people you like to be around, if you're having a drink with it, if you're playing with family and you're having a great time doing it, then there's a better chance that you're gonna stick with it and keep playing and keep improving. Okay, so moving on to the 2.5 to 3.0 level. You've got the scoring down, you know where to stand, you got the basics down. What I think is the kind of the next big step in your progression is learning proper court positioning. One thing I see in really beginning players is they're just kind of hovering around the court. They're just kind of going wherever the ball goes and hitting and reacting. And you see a lot of this kind of standing in the middle of the court. Now that we're starting to figure out the game a little bit, let's figure out why we should be up at the kitchen line, why one person is starting up here, why, what the advantage of being closer to the net is, why we would want to stay back when we pop the ball up. So start to get comfortable with being in different spots on the court and why you want to be there, okay? Because positioning is a big key in learning this game. Those in the kind of the 3.0 to 3.5 range, knowing whether a ball is attackable or unattackable. Every decision you make past this point in your progression in pickleball is going to be based on this information of attackable and unattackable. So as a black and white rule, it is this. We're going to use the net height as our black and white guide here. If I'm hitting a ball below that point, we're going to consider that unattackable. If I'm hitting a ball higher than that point, we're gonna consider that attackable, okay? So everything that we do in pickleball is gonna be our shot selection, our positioning, our movement, our goals are gonna be based on understanding this concept of trying to make our opponents hit unattackable shots and then also trying to earn attackable shots for ourselves. Okay, so now at this 3.0 to 3.5 level, we've learned and we've understood how to actually, what attackable and unattackable is. Now at the 3.5 to 4.0 level, we've got to actually learn to execute shots based on that information, okay? So the big thing we want to learn at this level is how to soften shots. We're going to hit drops, we're going to learn dinks, and we're going to learn them at a little bit higher level that when you learn to soften the ball, you can get it to have less energy going over the net and die, which means therefore your opponents are gonna be hitting shots below the net. They're gonna be hitting those unattackable shots, which is what we want, which is gonna make it tougher for our opponents to score on us in pickleball. So I'm not gonna go into full detail in this video on how we're gonna get every shot to be perfectly softened in the kitchen, but I do have another full video linked right here if you wanna see how we're gonna learn to control pace of each shot and get those balls to land in the kitchen. Okay, so for the 4.0 to 4.5 level, what you're gonna find is people are looking to hurt you with power more often, okay? So the most important skill I think we need at this level is gonna be what's called the counterattack. So a counterattack is simply, my opponents have decided to hit a shot hard at me, whether it's a hard volley, a drive, an off the bounce speed up, they're looking to hurt me with power. A counterattack is how well do I handle that power and deliver it back or make them pay for that. You're gonna find it as we get to these higher levels that people are getting better at attacking. Therefore, if you wanna succeed, your counterattack needs to be on point. Again, I'm not gonna go into full detail into how exactly to counterattack, but I do have a full video linked right here where you can learn everything you need to know about the counterattack. Okay, so now we're at the 4-5 to 5-0 level. Up to this point, we've got our soft game dialed in, we've got our positioning locked in, we've learned to counterattack. Now at this 4-5 to 5-0 level, we've got to start to create some of our own offense. So this is where I think learning some really good attacking skills is important. And you have to kind of figure out what that is for you specifically. For me personally, my favorite shot is the off the bounce attack. So I like to, when a ball's sitting up off the bounce a little bit, I like to pick my spot and speed up off the bounce. Somebody like a J.W. Johnson almost exclusively attacks by reaching in and flicking out of the air. So you got to take a look at what your skill set is and figure out how your attacks are going to be most effective. So if you want to learn more about some of these attacking options, check out this video here that goes more into detail on that. Okay, so last we got the 5-0 plus players. Okay, typically these players kind of have all of the skills we've talked about, but the one big thing to kind of exceed at this level and even push to higher levels is we've got to be able to be adaptive, meaning depending on my opponents, depending on the partner that I'm playing with, depending on my conditions, I've got to be able to call on any of these skills. Maybe I've got to play a softer game if I'm playing with a partner that doesn't like to attack as much. Maybe I've got to speed up more if I'm playing opponents that can't handle power as much, right? So we've got to be able to call on all of these different skills and adapt and be comfortable switching in and out of different roles, different situations, depending on what kind of the game is calling for in that moment. Okay, and last, I've got a few bonus tips for everybody at every level. Number one, play with people you like. This is really important, really underrated, that if you want to last in pickleball, you've got to be out on the court with people you enjoy being around, with people you have fun with, because ultimately that's kind of what we're all here for is, I train every day, I practice every day. It's pretty serious, but I'm also doing it with people who are great friends to me. So it doesn't feel like practice, it doesn't feel like work. So you need to find your group that's like that, and pickleball is going to be that much more enjoyable. Second is you want to have people that are ideally at a similar level to you. Kind of weird things happen when you're playing with people who are way better or way worse. Sometimes we don't try as much, or we're overplaying or underplaying, or there's kind of a lot of weird dynamics. So hopefully pickleball is getting popular enough that we've got a big group of people to choose from as to kind of who we want to play with. Ideally, we like the person. Ideally, they're a similar level to us, because that is going to create the best atmosphere for growing your game. And then the last one is you want to play with people that have similar competitive goals to you. Even if I'm at the same level as somebody, if my goal is to be a pro in the next year, and their goal is just to drink beer and have fun, our games might not be all that productive. So you want to look for people who, have similar goals, whether it be, wanting to play in tournaments, want to better your skills, wanting to get to a certain level, or just, we want to go out in the courts and laugh and have a good time for an hour. Thanks for watching the video, you guys. Don't forget to grab your screenshot here with all the important information from this video. If you like the content that I'm bringing, make sure you like and subscribe, because it helps out a ton.